I don't know. You're gonna have to ask Aaliyah that question. I honestly, you just do your work. You got to do your work early, and make it different. But Aaliyah did say I have a special whistle, and she shot 13 today. Yeah, yeah. She said the last game I had a special whistle, which is cool.
The Las Vegas Aces didn't just lose a pivotal playoff game. Their superstar A'ja Wilson accused the Indiana Fever of cheating with a mythical special whistle. In the shocking aftermath of a stunning upset, the reigning champions refused to accept defeat, launching a full-scale attack on the referees and their opponent, Aaliyah Boston. This wasn't just sour grapes, it was a bizarre conspiracy theory that has rocked the league. But was it a desperate excuse from a dynasty in denial, or did they expose a deeper problem in the WNBA?
The look on your face while you're looking at that box score, I'm wondering what's really standing out to you there.
I was just looking at the fouls. Like Bliss had 5, Jackie had 5, Chelsea had 5, and that's very interesting to me because I'm not saying we don't foul. Yeah, we foul here and there, but that's very interesting.
The moment the final buzzer sounded on the Fever's victory, the blame game began. In the post-game press conference, Aces head coach Becky Hammon and star player A'ja Wilson didn't talk about defensive breakdowns or missed opportunities. Instead, they focused their frustration on one thing: the referees. Hammon was blunt and dismissive, pointing to a single statistic as her entire analysis. They shot 34 free throws and we shot 11. She stated flatly, making it clear she believed the game was not decided by players but by the officials. Wilson, sitting beside her, called the foul count very interesting, a sentiment her coach bluntly translated as "shasterisk." Their message was clear and calculated: we didn't lose, we were robbed.
Asia, it looked like they really were intentional about going to Aaliyah in the second half. What was, I guess, difficult about containing her? I know you guys kind of touched on a few things, maybe with the foul calls, that what made it successful for them to keep running her today?
I don't know. You're gonna have to ask Aaliyah that question. I honestly, you just do your work. You got to do your work early, and make it different. But Aaliyah did say I have a special whistle, and she shot 13 today.
She said that to you.
Yeah, she said the last game I had a special whistle, which is cool. So we just gotta play their better defense, make her look a little difficult, and kind of go from there.
But that wasn't the most shocking part of the presser. It was A'ja Wilson's comments that took the situation from typical post-game frustration to something far stranger. She told the media, with a straight face, that Indiana's Aaliyah Boston had admitted to having a special whistle that favored her. Aaliyah did say, "I have a special whistle," and she shot 13 free throws today. Wilson claimed, referencing a supposed conversation from a previous game, this wasn't just an accusation of bad officiating, it was a full-blown conspiracy theory. The claim was so outlandish, it immediately sparked disbelief. The irony was impossible to ignore. For years, Wilson has been the player fans from every other team have accused of getting superstar calls, a player who practically lives at the free throw line. Now, after one tough loss where the calls didn't go her way, she was suddenly the victim of a refereeing plot.
Megan had 4.
What? Oh my God, that's interesting. That's what I was looking at. We'll do better. We gotta play better defense.
I'm interested. You made that shit.
Yeah, I can't say that because I got a brain. But
Say it, I have no brain.
yeah, it's interesting. But we'll be better.
While Wilson was spinning tales of golden whistles, her coach was waging a more direct assault on the game's integrity. Becky Hammon, a future Hall of Famer, walked into her press conference with a single bullet in her chamber. When asked for her thoughts on the game, she didn't offer any strategic insight. She simply said, "They shot 34. We shot 11. Next question. It was a mic drop moment designed to create a simple, powerful narrative for frustrated fans to rally behind. Forget that 3 of her key players had 5 fouls each. Forget any defensive schemes that failed to stop Indiana's attack. In Hammon's telling, the only thing that mattered was the free throw disparity. It was a masterclass in deflection, shifting the entire focus away from her team's shortcomings and squarely onto the officials.
Coach, how much Liz foul trouble impacted you on the rotation and her impact on the defensive end?
Yeah, I mean, it hurts us. We need to be able to play Liz heavy minutes. She's been an impactful player in this series. I gotta go back and look at the tape, but it seemed like there was a lot of grabbing and holding down there. That got called one way.
Anything else?
I did appreciate it was a little tighter called, but tighter on both ends would have been nice.
But behind the smoke and mirrors of the Aces' complaints lies a simple, unavoidable truth: the Indiana Fever earned their victory by being the more aggressive team. The reason for the massive free throw disparity wasn't a conspiracy, it was a strategy. Aaliyah Boston didn't just stand on the perimeter shooting jumpers, she attacked the paint relentlessly, forcing the Aces' defenders to either foul her or give up easy baskets. Boston finished the game with a dominant 24 points and 14 rebounds, stuffing the stat sheet and physically overpowering Wilson in the post. She went to the free throw line 13 times because Las Vegas had no other way to stop her. Meanwhile, Kelsey Mitchell poured in 25 points, consistently outplaying her defenders on the perimeter. The Fever didn't win because of a special whistle, they won because their stars showed up and dominated their matchups. And this is where the Aces' narrative completely falls apart. The hypocrisy of their complaints is what makes their meltdown so stunning. Ja Wilson has built a career on getting to the free throw line, often on calls that leave opposing players and fans furious. For her to complain about another player getting favorable calls is like a rain cloud complaining about getting wet. Fever fans, and indeed fans across the league, have spent years watching Wilson get bailed out by referees. This time, when the whistle finally seemed to favor her opponent's aggressive style of play, the response wasn't self-reflection, but immediate accusation. It paints a picture of a team so accustomed to being the beneficiary of the doubt that they perceive fairness as an attack. The champions, it seems, believe the rules should be different for them. This public meltdown, however, isn't just about a single game. It's about a fundamental shift in the WNBA power structure. For the past few years, the Las Vegas Aces have been the undisputed queens of the league, a dynasty in the making. But the Indiana Fever, a team that has been rebuilding for years, have suddenly emerged as a legitimate threat. This wasn't just a loss for the Aces, it was a challenge to their dominance. The fear in Las Vegas is palpable. It's the fear that their reign might be coming to an end sooner than anyone expected. Blaming the referees is easier than admitting that a younger, hungrier team simply outplayed them. It's an excuse born from the insecurity of a champion who suddenly realizes they are no longer untouchable. When you look beyond the accusations, the excuses crumble. Even with the free throw disparity they complained about, the Aces still had numerous chances to win the game down the stretch, but they failed to execute, turning the ball over and missing crucial shots when it mattered most. That's not on the refs, that's on the players. Furthermore, their high foul count wasn't a product of biased officiating, but of a lack of discipline. They were constantly reaching, grabbing, and swiping, unable to contain Indiana's relentless attack. It can even be argued that Becky Hammon was thoroughly outcoached by Stephanie White, who unleashed Aaliyah Boston in the post and had no effective counter. Instead of owning these failures, they chose the easy way out. Unsurprisingly, the comments from Wilson and Hammon ignited a firestorm online. Social media became a battleground. Aces fans, armed with the 34-11 free throw stat, flooded every platform with claims of a rigged game. They clipped every questionable call against Vegas and ignored every foul their team committed. But on the other side, the reaction was brutal. Fever fans and neutral observers relentlessly mocked Wilson for complaining about free throws, calling her the pot calling the kettle black. Memes of Wilson with a tinfoil hat spread like wildfire. The special whistle comment became an instant joke, a symbol of a champion's inability to accept a loss with grace. The court of public opinion was divided, but the narrative the Aces tried to sell wasn't landing outside of their own fan base. In a wild twist, the accusations from the Aces fueled an entirely different conspiracy theory among their own fans that the league was rigging games for the Indiana Fever. The logic? The WNBA supposedly wants Caitlin Clark, even while injured and on the sidelines, in the finals to maximize ratings. This theory, however, collapses under the slightest scrutiny. If the league was truly in the business of fixing games for ratings, wouldn't they want their proven star-studded dynasty, the Las Vegas Aces, back in the finals? Aja Wilson is a two-time MVP, and the Aces are the league's glamour franchise. A finals featuring them is a guaranteed draw. An Indiana team that was in the league's basement just a year ago is a far bigger gamble. The idea that the league would risk its integrity on a still-developing Fever team over its reigning champions simply makes no logical sense. In the end, while the Aces were creating a firestorm of controversy, the scoreboard told the real story. The Indiana Fever won the game, and Las Vegas lost its composure. Wilson's special whistle theory and Hammond's free throw complaints were nothing more than a desperate attempt to control a narrative that was slipping from their grasp. The truth is, the Aces were outplayed, out-hustled, and out-coached. This wasn't a conspiracy, it was a changing of the guard. And as the two teams head into a decisive Game 5, the pressure is now entirely on the champions. They have backed themselves into a corner. If they lose again, they can't blame the refs a second time. Their entire legacy is at risk, not just of being dethroned, but of being remembered as champions who pointed fingers instead of looking in the mirror.